Hello everyone, I'm Mady.
And I'm Ade.
And we're the Bookends. Today is our first episode. So exciting.
Yes.
Very exciting.
Yes.
If you didn't remember or if you didn't watch our intro episode, our first book that we read was To Kill a Mockingbird. Neither of us still have a copy with us because I read it on my phone and Ade got it from the library and
then
returned
I
it. So, picture here.
Yeah.
Imagination. So we read To Kill a Mockingbird. Basically, for our first episode, there's probably going to be some bumps in the road just because we don't
For sure
know exactly what order we
the
want
format.
to go in. Right, but we're just going to kind of dive in. Do you want to start with discussion questions?
Sure.
So Ade wrote up some discussion questions for us
for this book, and I think we might rotate. Yeah.
Like asking them?
Sure, if you want to.
Or what do you mean? Oh, rotate like who writes
her,
down.
Yeah, sorry.
Yes, that part.
Mm-hmm.
So,
but we can rotate asking them too if you want.
Yeah, that's fine. Ade started asking me them when we came to the library earlier this week, and I go, don't say anything. we have to save it. We have to save it.
Okay.
So I don't know all of them.
So my first question is, how do your initial expectations of the book compare to your reactions throughout and at the end of the book?
Loaded question. So before, I didn't really know what it was about, to be honest. I just knew, like, it was, like, an important book, and it was taught in schools until it wasn't, and now it's not. We don't read it in our school anymore. But since we read a book in class that was, like, in place of it, I kind of got an idea of what it would be about. So, like, I knew it would be about, like, I don't know. But when I started, I really liked the book. Mm-hmm. It was very good.
It's very good book.
And I understand why it is taught. It's a very important story. And it makes me sad that we don't read it in school.
I think I know our school, this might be different through other schools, wherever, but our school, we, like, basically updated it to a more modern version.
Right.
Which I think could be helpful, but I also think it would be cool if we read a book like this.
I wish we had read both and compared them, rather than watching a movie. Because we watched a movie as well called Just Mercy, which is, like, based on a true story. Mm-hmm. Which was also good.
Yeah,
I wish we would have done all of them.
It would have been cool if we could have just compared all three.
But that would have been a lot. That would have been a big chunk of our year.
Yeah.
But it was very good. So basically, if you don't know what it's about, Ade can I can give a synopsis. I have it on my computer.
Yeah.
So this is from the internet because
I forgot to do a summary, so.
No, it's not a big deal. We didn't really talk about it. But this is just, like, big gist. To Kill a Mockingbird is a novel by Harper Lee set in the 1930s in the southern United States, Macomb, Alabama. It follows the story of Scout Finch, her brother Jem, and their father Atticus, in the fictitious town of Macomb, Alabama. It's not a real place. When a black man named Tom Robinson is falsely accused of raping a white woman, Atticus defends him despite community threats. Tom is convicted and later killed while trying to escape custody. So Atticus is the father of Scout and Jem, and they're a white family in the Deep South in the 1930s. I feel like you know where, like, it's gonna go. Like, he's a lawyer, he is asked to represent Tom Robinson, who's a black man who was falsely accused, and it was quite obvious that he did not do it.
Yeah.
Let me be clear.
The evidence they had was they charged him on the father of the
woman who was
raped. To be raped. So and
this father was clearly abusive towards his daughter.
Yes, and he was very racist. So
yeah.
But basically, in essence, Tom Robinson, he was walking by and offered to help this woman,
like some housework or something.
Yes, and since she was very lonely and, like, whatever, she, like,
made a move on him, basically.
And he said no, and he left. But as he was leaving, the dad showed up, and she just started, like, basically screaming, like,
to save her own face.
Yeah, because
she had just made a move on a black man, and she was a white woman.
Yeah.
So
she was doing it to basically save her own butt from her dad.
Yeah.
But in doing so, she killed a black man, so.
Yeah. There's the synopsis.
Yeah.
So we can. What is your next question? Do you want to keep going with those?
Yeah. Okay. So y'all know that like one icebreaker that you do at the beginning of school, where it's like, if you could have dinner with anyone dead or alive, fictional or whatever, who would it be? And so basically, this like follows along that. So which character out of the book would you want to have this meal with, and why?
I would want to do it with, who did I say? What is her name? Calpurnia. So Calpurnia is the Finch family's maid. So basically, and she's a black woman, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And she is just so funny. And so I just want to know how she started working for them, what the situation is there, because I don't know, because it just feels weird. I don't know. I want to sit down with her. I want to know, like, why is she, like, she doesn't seem to have, like, she's not a developed character, so I want to learn more about her.
It'd be really cool if there was like just a separate little short story about her.
I want to know how she met the Finches, how this all happened,
her perspective through it,
her childhood, like
if she experienced any backlash from her own community for Atticus like taking on the case.
I wonder, and then not winning it.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I want to just know her. Mm-hmm. She's fun.
I said the person I would have a meal with was Atticus's dad, because it's said in the story a couple of times that Atticus was homeschooled by his father, him, and then Uncle Jack, who's Atticus's brother. They were all homeschooled by this father that like obviously has passed away by now.
Yeah.
But just homeschooled by him, and they're both in very intelligent and like emotionally, like mentally, like they're all just like so intelligent and well-rounded. And I'm just like, that's like, where did they learn all that from? You know what I mean?
And I wonder, like, yeah, I don't know. I wonder if, like, their education, they might have gotten it from their dad, but their more social awareness and, like, loving side of them is from their mom. Like, I would like to sit down with both of their parents.
Like, their family in general. Like, it would just be...
Because it's really cool. Like a diamond in the rough. Like, a white family in the South who is supportive of this black community during the 30s. Like, it just doesn't feel... Like, it's unique.
Yeah. So I just think it would be really cool to have a conversation with that family. Yeah. Okay. The next question is, why is it so essential or important that this story was told in the perspective of Scout, who's basically a little kid?
She's like what age is she? She's like just going to school.
Yeah,
isn't it like first grade?
Yeah, so she was like,
that's crazy.
Like, that's
like
6,
7,
and then it went till she was in 4th grade, 5th grade, I think.
That's crazy.
So, like, just, I thought it was really important that it was told through a kid's perspective.
Me too. Well, yeah.
Like, kids,
they're so innocent and they speak their mind.
Yeah, they don't try to like hide the truth. So I think it was very important that it was told from Scout's perspective, I guess, because she'd just see things and she'd say it outright, and she'd just like,
yeah, well, we'll get there
out front.
We'll get there when I get to my totally tab-worthy moment, which more on that later.
Yeah. So I just thought it was a great take to write it that way.
I agree, because if it was written from like Atticus's perspective, or Jem's even,
it would have been
a little older,
completely
different story.
Yeah. So, okay. My 4th question is, do you agree with Atticus's parenting style of always being open, honest, and having high expectations of his kids?
I'm not a parent, but don't plan to be for a long time. But I think it is important to be honest with your children and not hide the truth. Especially, I don't know, like, especially like in Atticus, his position, he's a lawyer and he's facing persecution in his community. You can't just be like, oh, it's nothing to your kid. Like, why is everyone mad at my dad? It's nothing. Like, you can't. Yeah. It's very important to be honest, I think.
Yes. Kids. Especially, I think it was very important that he was, because at the end of the book, they literally almost got killed because of his decision to defend like to defend this man. So I think it's just important to be like knowledgeable of that. And their aunt Alexandria was constantly like telling him like, you need to keep the kids out of this, like blah 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 blah. But if he would have, then they probably like wouldn't have been as safe. They definitely wouldn't have.
And if they didn't know how to defend themselves, right?
Or like just know what to even expect,
right? And I think Atticus does a good job of making it age appropriate. He's not saying I'm defending a black man who's allegedly raped a white woman. Like he doesn't. He's just saying like it's my job. I think he gives an age appropriate answer to their questions. Which is important.
Yeah. Okay. And then my final question is, how do you think Calpurnia, Miss Mady, and Aunt Alexandria helped fill in the role of Scout and Jem's absent mother?
Yeah, so I didn't really cover this in the synopsis, but Atticus is a single parent, and his wife passed away when Scout was like 2 or 3?
I think it was from like a heart attack.
They were very young. And yeah, I think just those female roles definitely, I don't know what I'm trying to say, but I think it is very important that they had those presences because they do teach them a lot. But I also think like Aunt Alexandria, she always wanted Scout to wear a dress. She always wanted her to be very prim and proper, and that's not who Scout was. So I think in some ways
she had very like
traditional views. Yeah. I think
But there were some times throughout the entire book, I was not a fan of her. But then there were some times where she like did some certain things. I can't think of certain examples where I was like, okay, so she's not
evil. She's just different. And I think that's an important lesson, actually.
Yeah, because it taught Jem and Scout, mostly Scout, but just how to like deal with more difficult people.
Exactly, and that they aren't that different. And especially like family, because not everybody agrees like within families and stuff. They have different views on stuff, but it's important to understand that at the end of the day, they're your family.
Yeah, and
they have love for you.
Yeah, you can still love each other even though they're different in one way or another. Right. And I think that was just like an important lesson.
And that's like a subtle underlying message, but I think it's a good one. But yeah, like the mother thing, I do think they fill an important role. Like even Calpurnia, one of the reasons I love her so much, there's one scene where
No, you're good.
Where a young boy comes over to their house and he has dinner with them, and his family's very like poor, and he puts like syrup all over his dinner. And Scout goes, "What in the world? He's drowning his food in syrup." And Calpurnia goes, "You come here," and brings her into the kitchen and goes, he is your guest. You treat him with respect, and he can eat the tablecloth, and you shouldn't say a thing." Like, she's just very protective, I think, and she's an educator to them in that way.
I think she was a great source of showing them that having a different perspective or doing different things like on life is so important, and it's okay.
You can learn from it.
Exactly. Yeah. Like it's totally okay that this kid can just pour syrup all over his broccoli and eat it. That's perfectly fine. Yes, it's different, but
I wouldn't do that, but
I mean, it's
who's stopping? Like, why should I stop you from doing it if that's what you like?
Exactly. Yeah, like knock yourself out.
I know that's like a regular term, but I just like comprehended what you just said. Knock yourself out, like what? Okay,
sorry about that.
No, I'm recovered. Is that your last one?
Yeah.
Okay. What an ending.
Or a short little intermission. It's okay.
Anyway.
Get all the giggles out.
So we have a few little segments that we're gonna do. And the first one, I want to talk about our favorite character. So I have a whole thing written on my computer.
Go for it. I'm gonna wing mine.
I love it. Remember last episode when you said, I always say I can wing stuff and then I can't?
Yeah,
Besides the point.
Besides the point.
Favorite character. My favorite character was Atticus Finch. Basic, I know. I don't care. I said he's a great role model for not only his kids, but for readers. He teaches us to stand up for what we believe in, even if we will be persecuted.
Thanks. I like that.
What's yours?
I think that there's a lot of characters to pick from. Mm-hmm. And okay, so mine's either Scott.
His name is I'm sorry, I just said that we knew this was gonna happen. The whole day when we were planning, she goes, Scott. And I go, Scott. Who is Scott? Scout.
Okay. Yeah.
Scout. Well, Ade, who was your favorite character?
Okay, so my favorite character was Boo Radley, or Arthur Radley, I guess. Yeah, Arthur Radley, which he was the youngest brother, I believe. That was basically they were the Finch's neighbors, and he was basically stuck in their house for like years on end for nobody knows what reason.
Yeah, there was a ton people say he went crazy, something.
Yeah, basically like the father and then his older brother, once his father passed away, like just kept him in the house. And
he only comes out at night.
Yeah. That was it was like kind of spooky, but he ended up saving the kids. And
yeah, so at the end we can talk about that quick.
Yeah,
at the end, the Jem and Scout are coming home from like some festival where Scout had a performance, and they're walking home, and the father of the woman who was supposedly raped tries to kill them, and Boo Radley saves them and kills the dad.
Yeah.
But no, he didn't.
He
never gets punished for it, because at the end the sheriff's like,
he did a good thing. Why punish him?
Right, basically.
Yeah.
Anyway, sorry.
So he was just like my favorite character because he was talked about constantly, but we never like
knew
or whether any of it was true. But then he comes in the end and he totally like kicks butt, and he saves these kids and is so kind to them, even though people have constantly been like rude to him behind his back, and he's never really been like out like in the outside world a lot. And I just thought it was so cool that he cared that much about the kids, and he only ever saw them through a window.
Yeah. And I'm looking at SparkNotes right now, but this is an interesting thing. It says Boo doesn't change as a character over the course of a novel, but Scout and Jem's perception of Boo changes from monster to hero as they learn more about Boo and develop a sense of empathy.
Exactly.
That's all. Okay. Yeah. Next, we have Totally Tab-worthy. I'm so excited for this. I'm just proud of that name. So, basically, this is like our standout moment. What moment was like your favorite scene? So mine was when Scout diffuses this mob that is forming against Tom Robinson.
Atticus and Tom at the jail.
Yeah, and Atticus like sits in front of Tom Robinson's jail cell and protects them, and then he sneaks, like he leaves in the middle of the night. So Jem and Scout are like, "What is going on?" They follow their dad, and they go to the jailhouse, and there's a mob of men, and Scout and Jem find out that they're planning an attack on Tom Robinson. She is shocked to see that she recognizes a few of the members of the mob, including Mr. Cunningham, who is the father of the boy she invited over for lunch. You know, the one with the syrup, his dad. And this guy, he was paying Atticus for some legal work that he had done for him through like acts of service, or like not monetary,
because
like
they were poor.
They were
very poor. So
that's kind of how the movie or the book starts.
Yeah,
is with him coming over and paying his dues or whatever.
It's like Scout is like telling about the town to their new teacher, and it's like how you can
how you know he doesn't have money for lunch.
Yeah,
his last name is Cunningham.
Yeah,
they're a poor family,
but then they always pay you back in like they bring you
potatoes, right?
Yeah, like,
and yeah. So anyways, she sees that Mr. Cunningham is at this mob, and she just starts making small talk with him. and it throws off the mood of the whole group.
Because they're very, like,
angry, want to get into this jail cell, want to get him, get Tom Robinson. She's like, how's your legal payment going?
Yeah.
That's, like, basically what she says. And she goes, it's not good. She goes, it's not good. But it just shows how sometimes talking with people who have different beliefs than you can shine a light on the bad choices they have made, or talking to him caused the mob to disperse, and it showed that your voice has power.
Yeah.
And I think she's just like a beacon of innocence, I think, in this whole thing.
I don't think she totally understood what was going on.
Well, no, she's a kid.
Yeah.
And that's, again, why it's important that it was told from a kid's perspective, because they speak their mind. And I think her just saying, you haven't made so many bad choices, or so many good choices. Like, you've made bad choices.
But you're still a good person.
Doesn't mean you're a bad person. Yeah. Why is it not the same with Tom Robinson?
Yeah. She didn't say that directly, but she basically said that. And I think it got a little worm in their mind. And it got them to quit being, like... Yeah.
Mean.
Yeah, pretty much.
So, what was your tab-worthy moment, Addie?
Totally tab-worthy moment was when Atticus killed the rabid dog.
Yes.
And how it affected Jem.
Interesting.
Because...
Elaborate.
So, okay. Jem, throughout this book, he's like, I don't know, not a typical boy, I guess, is the best way to describe it, I think. And as he's growing up, he is, like, being, like, as siblings do, like, leave me alone, you're such a drag. I just want to hang out with my friends,
Right.
And so I think he was talking, I think, to Uncle Jack, which is Atticus's brother, or someone along those lines, about how Atticus didn't really, I think it was, like, stand for something. Like, he didn't have anything going for him.
Oh.
I think it was
I'm trying to remember. This part was, like, early on in the book.
Yeah. I think it was something along those lines, and how he didn't think his dad was, like, worth anything. I think something along those lines. Or, like, he was a lawyer, but, like, what does he do? Like,
right.
I think
he just wasn't a traditional, like,
he, like, didn't have, like, massive awards for anything or stuff like that. And I think it was, like, so Jem was like, well, what's the point? You want all this recognition, but then you're not, like...
Right. And I think that threw Jem off, because he's like, if you don't do things for recognition, why would you do it?
Yeah. And so I think this was a big learning moment for Jem, because basically there was a rabid dog on their street, and Atticus went out with a gun, and he, like, does not do guns, basically, is like the message that I got through all that. He doesn't do guns.
It's like, not
like, now.
He doesn't, and he doesn't want Jem to have a gun.
Exactly.
Because some of his friends have, like, shotguns, and Atticus is like, I didn't get one until I was, like, 15.
Yeah.
You're 11. Cool it.
Yeah. And basically we learned through that part that Atticus is, like, really impressively good at, like, handling a gun.
Shot.
Yeah, great shot, pretty much.
Like,
and he gets this dog, like, put down, obviously, killed, whatever. And Jem is like, well, how come, like, I think he was so confused why his dad just didn't, like, evolve with that. Like, he's so good, he could be, like, I don't know, he could get, like, a bunch of, I don't know what you do at that time. Probably some things. I don't know. I don't know, like, it was, like, I think it's, like, he could be great at hunting game, like, they wouldn't have to go to the grocery store to get meat or stuff like that. He could be selling this meat, making a profit. And Jem, I think, was just really, it was just a turning point for Jem, because Atticus was like, I'm not about that. I don't want that to be what makes me me. I don't want to be known for, like, becoming a sheriff and being able to shoot down the bad guy. I don't want to do that, because I would rather...
He's reluctant to do it.
Yeah, he's like, I'd rather fight with wisdom and words than with guns and hands.
Right. See, I think, I'm looking at this right now, but it says the mad dog symbolizes the racism in Maycomb, and Atticus Finch's reluctant shooting of the dog parallels his defense of Tom Robinson, which, like, shows his moral courage and willingness to confront dangerous societal issues despite personal reluctance. Because I can't imagine how he felt having to take on this case. Because he did it, obviously, and I know
he was kind of told to do it. Like,
he was told to do it, but
he knew it was the right thing.
He knew it was the right thing to do, but he knew he would face backlash for it.
Mm-hmm.
And I think like that the dog, it sort of, again, it parallels that.
Yeah.
He's reluctant to do it at first, but he knows it's what needs to be done.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And I like that scene a lot just because I thought it was a very good lesson.
Learning moment.
And learning
learning moment. You get it. You'll get
learning point for Jem.
Yeah.
In his just growing up and learning about things.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Favorite quote feature. So I'm just going to say my favorite quote, and I feel like my quote can speak for itself, but I can explain why I picked it. So I said, you never really understand a person until you consider things from his point of view, until you climb into his skin and walk around in it. That's said by Atticus. Don't know how to elaborate on that one. I just think it says what it is.
Yeah, I think it does.
And I think it's still prevalent today.
Mm-hmm.
That's all I'll say.
Yeah. Mine is also from Atticus, and it's kind of boring compared to Maddie's, but that's okay.
No, but yours is a good one. Which one is it?
Atticus says, before I can live with other folks, I've got to live with myself. And he says that in the defense to Jem's questioning about why he took on the case.
Yes, I think so.
And I just thought that was that's just a wow. Like, he's willing to risk all these relationships he has with other people.
Because he knows morally that's the right thing to do.
Exactly.
And he couldn't live with himself if he didn't do the right thing.
And I just thought that was a good
quote.
Yeah.
Okay. Finally, our rating. I gave it 4.5 stars. What'd you give it?
I gave it a 4.8.
Unfortunately, Goodreads doesn't have half ratings, which is bogus. And also, anyways, Goodreads is just bogus in a lot of ways.
Yeah.
So, I gave it a 4.5. The half point was only because it was published in 1960. I was born in 2008. My brain isn't that big. So it just some of it, I had a hard time following the plot. I think I watched the movie after, which was very helpful to help me keep a timeline of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
That's the only thing is I just got confused, but that's user error. The story was great. It's incredibly important, and I think, I'll tell you my recommendation after.
Yeah. I gave it a 4.8 because I really enjoyed the book, and I thought I was surprised that I followed it along as easily as I did.
Okay, bragging.
Well, yes, there was some points, but that's the thing why I gave it a 4.8 is there was just allusions and references to things, and I was like, I want to know.
Shout out Miss Campman for teaching us illusions.
Yeah. But I was like,
the difference between illusion and what's the other one that's illusion? A reference? No, that's the same thing.
I have no idea.
What is it?
It starts with an A, doesn't it? It's illusion and something else, and it's like a
allegory.
Is that what that's called?
An illusion is a reference to a well-known piece, character, place, or event that the writer uses to convey meaning. An allegory is an extended work of symbolism that uses various symbols throughout its writing to communicate. No, an allegory is yes, it was. It wasn't that. Yeah, it's a person will make an allegory for blah, blah, blah. It's not illusion to blah, blah, blah. I think it was an allegory. A reference, a metaphor, an idiom, and I think it was allegory. Miss Kim, thank you for teaching us the difference between illusion and something else.
I think it's allegory. Ade doesn't think it is. I think it is.
Hello. I am editing the podcast right now, and I would like to apologize for how wrong I was, because I am home and I have my English notes, and I found the exact note sheet that we filled out in class. The word we were looking for was aphorism. You can understand how allegory and illusion and aphorism, they're all similar. An aphorism is a universally accepted truth stated in a concise, to-the-point way. It's typically witty and memorable, like, you made your bed, now lie in it. Actions speak louder than words. In this case, my words were very loud. Hopefully my action of apologizing is louder. Please forgive me for going on a too long tangent to figure out one word. Just one. Anyways, we know the difference between an illusion and aphorism. Great.
Okay, so I rated this 4.8 because I thought it was really good. I would have given it a 5. There was just some references that I didn't get that I was like, I want to know. Let me know.
Left out.
You know what I mean? But otherwise, I thought it was phenomenal.
Yeah, so my recommendation, I would recommend reading this book. It's an important piece of literature, and it has timeless messages and themes. And if you're worried about getting lost, like me and Addie sometimes, or if you want to be like in on the secrets,
jokes,
in on the jokes, in on the references, there's a more modern version, which is the one that we read in class. It's called This Is My America by Kim Johnson. So if you're looking for a modern version of this, it's a similar story. It's not exactly the same, I would say, but they're very comparable.
And as you said, like you watched the movie after you read the book.
I would watch the movie. You can get it free on somewhere, but it's with ads. But
so
it's a good movie.
Yeah, just use your resources, I guess.
You should still. I think you should
definitely read the book.
There's a reason it has been taught in schools for so long.
Yep, it's a reason why it's a classic.
Yes. Is there anything else you would add to that?
Nope, I think that's it.
Okay, so one segment that we didn't get to do this week, and I'm so sad. I'm so sad. Follower questions. So.
Oh yeah, guys, lock in.
Lock in! It's not a joke. I'm not kidding. Okay.
I think it might be on us. We didn't really be like.
We didn't promote.
Our things coming out. We need it. People. Please.
I posted it twice on Instagram. Speaking of, follow us. Follow us on Instagram. What's our username, Addie?
The bookends at Mady.
the.bookends.madyandade.
Yes.
I'm gonna write it up here because our names are spelled weird.
It is. Yeah. Madyade. We're special.
Or something.
Yeah.
So,
but please, we would love to have more
followers.
Like, yeah.
We want followers. So basically, I will put a poll up. I'll put a poll up probably right after we post this, after I get it published and everything and edited. I will put up a poll for questions. I will put up a poll like a week before we record. And then the day of. So you have 3 opportunities to send in questions about the book we're reading, which we're going to reveal soon, I promise.
Yes.
We're almost there, I promise.
And if you want, read the book along with us.
Please do! Ask us questions that, like, someone who read the book would understand. Like, questions like, how are you enjoying it? Perfectly fine. We're going to get there without a follow-up question. Questions like Addie's discussion questions about the book.
Yeah.
So
once we
good.
Post, add your own thoughts in comments or like
comments on it, please. Like, our Spotify comments are on. I posted it on YouTube. You can comment on there. I don't know. I don't think Apple Podcast has comments.
I don't think so, no.
And I'm not sure about Amazon, but I know that Spotify does, and I know that YouTube does. Leave your comments. Leave your thoughts. We'd love to hear what you thought.
We'll get back to you.
We can get back to you. Email us questions. I have our email on our Instagram. DM us. Just be in communication. We want to talk to you.
Yes.
It's fun. Exactly. So, anyways, our book for February. Do you want to grab it? By Any Other Name.
By Jodi Picoult.
Jodi Picoult.
Picoult. Oh,
her name is spelled like Picoult, but it's pronounced Pico. How do I know? I got to hear her speak.
Mady said she was a great speaker, so I'm excited about
Great speaker. This book, okay, I've already started reading it. I'm on page 96. So, which I'm not even 20% done with it.
That's a thick book.
It's 483 pages, I counted.
Oh my goodness.
I just went to the end and found the end of the book. But if you want to see it better.
It's a very gorgeous cover.
It's so pretty. And our copies, this is my mom's. They're signed. Can you see it? Fancy, I know. So, by Any Other Name, I will read.
Do you want to read the inside cover?
I will read the inside cover. Young playwright Melina Green has just written a new work inspired by the life of her Elizabethan ancestor, Amelia Pisano. but seeing it performed is unlikely in a world where the playing field isn't level for women. As Melina wonders if she dares risk failure again, her best friend takes the decision out of her hands and submits the play to a festival under a male pseudonym. In 1581, young Amelia Bassano is a ward of English aristocrats. Her lessons on languages, history, and writing have endowed her with a sharp wit and a gift for storytelling. But like most women of her day, she is allowed no voice of her own. Forced to become a mistress to the Lord Chamberlain, who oversees all theatre productions in England, Amelia sees firsthand how the words of playwrights can move an audience. She begins to form a plan to secretly bring a play of her own to the stage, by paying an actor named William Shakespeare to front her work. Told in intertwining timelines by any other name, a sweeping tale of ambition, courage, and desire centers two women who are determined to create something beautiful, despite the prejudices they face. Should a writer do whatever it takes to see her story live on, no matter the cost? This remarkable novel, rooted in primary historical sources, ensures that the name Amelia Bassano will no longer be forgotten. So,
interesting.
Very! So basically, when I went and saw Jodie talk, she talked all about my main message. If you go to my personal Instagram, if you follow me, I have a post about it, or it's on my book Instagram. I said, key takeaways, read banned books, and William Shakespeare is fake. So, it's going to be fun to talk about all the conspiracy theories.
Yeah.
So, we're going to put on our tinfoil caps, and we'll see you next time. Please send in your follower questions.
Yes,
we really want to hear them. We really do. So, I guess with that, our bookends are out. We'll see you in February.
See you next time.
Bye, guys.
See ya.
So you guys know the gist, and maybe you can ask us some questions based on this if you aren't reading the book. Okay. Young playwright Melina Green has just written a New York inspired by the new work. Okay. Start over.
Young playwright Melina Green has just written a new work inspired by the life of her Elizabethan ancestor Amelia Bassano. Before seeing it performed is unlikely in a theater world where the playing field isn't level for women. As Melina wonders if she dares risk failure again, her best friend takes the decision out of her hands and submits the play to a festival under a male
pseudonym. In 1581, young Amelia Bassano.
Okay, I'm taking the book back.
So none of us can read this.
Okay. Young playwright. It's not funny. It's not funny.
And scene. Okay, so you know those 5 questions that I figured out?
Yeah.
I still only have those. Do you want me to do
it's not a big deal. Okay.
The book you got me, I'm like basically halfway through.
How is it?
It's so good.
Yay.
I'm so excited to finish it.
Yay.
It's so good. I'm really excited. It's making me happy. I like how it's going. I like how it's talking about multiple, like... Oh, I want you to read the book so you know exactly what I'm talking about. I love how it's, like, taking it in multiple directions. And, like, it's doing, like, the devil's advocate. But then still,
Oh, I see.
Like, not breaking it, but, like proving that it's wrong or proving that it's right.
I know what you're saying. Okay. Pause. Ready? Do you want to see my new little gadget? Turn on Mockingbird.
It follows a single fault. Atticus
Finch.
I like that name.
Me too. I put it on my baby name list after I read this book.
Okay. It might be a middle name for one of my kids.
It's a good book. Did you just go through the Spark Notes?
No, I read the book. I've actually never done that for a book.
Spark Notes?
No.
See, for for Sense and Sensibility, I read the chapters and then I would go back and read the Spark Notes because it was too big words.
Sense and Sensibility.
By Jane Austen.
Never heard of that book.
It's an old book.
Is it?
Yeah.
I needed that for Romeo and Juliet.
She read Pride and Prejudice. Or she wrote Pride and Prejudice.
Going Scott's perspective.
Scout, not Dill.
I keep saying Scott. That's bad. I'm gonna say Scott the entire time.
Maybe preface it by saying
Scout.
Scout. It's spelled C-O-U-T. Scout.
I know. It's just
Scott.
It's just Scott.
Scott with a U.
Yeah. The entire time I'm just gonna say Scott, and then we're gonna have to like overlay me saying Scout.
I go in voice for Scout.
Or you just do like
win Scout. I can't.
It's so funny.
So silly.